Hi. It seems like um, we still have not even got to the understanding what is going on in 2020. At least I haven't. I'm trying to comprehend. We have a president that's, I want to say that because he was good friends with the person in the inquirer that supposedly had, from what his lawyer has said, the one that has to do time, her, as we speak, said about documents and stuff that they had of Trump. And Inquirer, it was like a gossip tabloid, um, and um, so they would like sort of find out and follow in different famous people, stars, or rich or whatever, and they had a whole bunch of papers on him. But anyway, what I want to get to the point is that the issues that everyday Americans in South, Middle, and North America, have to deal with. Because America is not just the United States. America, you got South America, Central America, North America, Canada. This is all Americans over here. And they don't address the issues. And I guess the point I was going to is like, if you look at Trump's father gave him a lot of money. Trump has himself around a bunch of criminals. I'm only saying that because a lot of them been indicted or are in the midst of investigation for criminal activities. And you could just Google people that are associated with Trump that are, under criminal indictment or in prison, etc. And so I think that, basically they were stealing from Trump. They're embezzling and blackmailing, and he's like the type of person, I think, that he just decided that's the way it is, because his father was a man of, well, he got sued for his rental practices that were very racist and being part of the Ku Klux Klan. So his father had a reputation, and plus there was, the reputation of prostitution and other stuff that had supposedly devolved with his father that made him have the money to get into real estate in the first place. So, but he wasn't the only Europeans that was coming over from Europe and raping and robbing the natives here, like the Indians, slaughtering. I mean, talking about beating a dead horse. But anyway, that's besides the point. And so then you have Trump that comes in here, and then we have major issues from hurricanes, floods, fires. Um, and one of the biggest things that I don't see them addressing in a humane way, in a non-racial way, is the police brutality and police reform, which I think we need police reform. Today, Monday, what is it? I believe it's the 24th. My glasses here. Yeah, August 24th, 2020. You hear overnight or from a couple of days, two more police shootings. One guy, he's in critical condition. The other one, they just slaughtered him. So, like, in a way, the police is like acting like they have to be at some type of well, like, I know, like, this policeman next door, I said hi to him, and he's like, you fuck the crackhead, prostitute, hoe. First of all, I don't like people enough to be a prostitute. I think in some way you gotta, be able to put up with some bullshit that I simply like, you know, I work a 9 to 5 before I stand out in the rain, snow, sleet. I'm not a postman up in here. You know what I'm saying? You can make money. I guess, Trump probably knows all about women that prostitute themselves out just making money. But you know what I'm saying? Because, like, Putin's supposed to be Putin basically boast one time. I was listening to something Putin was saying, and he was sort of like act like he was a pimp. You know what I'm saying? It's a damn shame that, and that's what's wrong with, like, with a lot of, like, getting back to the police. I know I digress. Because a lot of them didn't learn respect at home. You know what I'm saying? One couple things I learned by being in the Jim Crow South, even if it's post, they still have the same type of mentality, the same type of, it's still, like, in some ways the same behavior, even because, like, every time they try to change their behavior, even the ones that are being oppressed or whatever, there's always that, that one that's making money off of, even if you'll say what the Russian calls, like, a useful idiot, and that's just how it goes when you're attacking people, you know. So if you're that only black person in a group of whatever white people, then maybe you need to rethink your thinking. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, when I get back to the police, and is that they're not addressing, like, the basic problems, because a lot of the crime problems that we have with the policing is from our education, because let's face it, we go to public schools in America. You might say, oh, he's smart, he's stupid, he's ignorant, he's that, but you know what I'm saying, we was all educated, in the United States government, city, runs schools, and it's all, district is divided up by the tax bracket in that area and how much funding that, I'm saying, instead of it being that, if it was, actually equal, all that money could go into one pot to make sure that it's, everybody has an equal education and that they're eating healthy food, not trying to make a profit off of feeding kids, high sugar and fat, Because if you're just drinking milk and eating cold cereal and eating a lot of red meat, like chicken nuggets, McDonald's, that type of red meat, and the milk and stuff, yeah, you're gonna be diabetic. And it's not like, oh, I gotta watch my omega fats. It's just like you need a little bit more. You need to eat a little bit more fish in your diet, which, because of our ignorance, and we don't mind polluting the oceans, which basically, if the ocean goes, we definitely will be the end of life. Regardless. Even if it's just pollution or whatever, that sort of makes us stick out from other planets because they don't have water. They might say, oh, we found ice or we found snow, but you didn't find no running motherfucking water, lakes, rivers. You didn't find another blue planet. Hell, there might be another one, but let that Haley comet come back around and we get a little out of orbit. That they might get knocked in orbit. Don't worry, we might be having a replacement, and you could have all the rich people try to fly to the moon or Mars or whatever. They won't be able. Yeah, if you can't colonize in the water, I mean, without causing more damage. But anyway, I digress again. It's the education system has been attacked. Maybe, because of the 60s, because of racial discrimination. People are thinking, yeah, well, whatever. Let's they like we could get these kids young, we could screw them up, and so then you got a bunch of criminals because. Let's face it, the majority of the white people, at least Australians, are honest about, like, they always, like, colonized by people straight up out of prisons, rapists, murderers, basically rapists and murderers and thieves. But, and and here they came out from Europe or whatever. Maybe it was war torn or whatever they've been, but we have had the same type of folks. They came here, I guess they say, to make money, to make a better way of life, and that meant to step literally on black people's necks until we can't breathe, to to basically murder, deprive the native Indians, the natives that was here. I don't want to say Indians, might be offended because you know it just shows more of the ignorance of the white people that came here. They weren't bright people, but it was about merchants, and they were getting their merchandise by stealing it from the different lands that they occupied and enslaving the people through capitalism. And what I mean by that, if you work from 9 to 5, right, you get your paycheck from somebody else, and then you take that check and you pay off a mortgage, or you pay rent, or you make a car payment, you pay the insurance, you pay the tax, the upkeep, in your house you pay the upkeep, you have to mow the grass, you need a lawnmower, you need all these things, so all the money that you make is drained out of your pocket, and that's what they mean by keep circulating. And that's how capitalism works, and that's how slavery works. It doesn't mean that necessarily that like how I've seen, like, some people in the sex industry think that, oh well, they're just gonna, like, you could just have this person give you all their money, and it doesn't work that way in capitalism. It's not like we're not growing our own food, we're not growing our own clothing, because the white man, the only way he thinks about eating off the land is to go kill something, a noble mammal, when, like, there's other ways to live off the land and still get just as much protein and vitamins as you need. Growing it, be it beans, avocados, whatever, oranges, zucchini, squash, tomatoes, I don't know. Like, you could have a full diet like that too, um, and be sustainable. So if you have, so you have, getting back to what the police, defunding the police, here you have people that the education system have felt the misery. Their parents have felt the misery because their parents, and no fault of their own in a lot of ways, have fell into the trap of the merchants trying to make money. Either the merchants, and I'm calling the colonizers merchants, right? They came over to to export and stuff from this land, right? To sell over, make a profit, be it people, whatever, you know. And so, oh, it's getting longer than I thought. Um, so, guess I lost my train of thought there. So, the thing is, it's not their fault that, but once, in a sense, once you get past a certain age, if you mature, and I think that's why society sort of keeps, the school system sort of keeps kids, like, instead of discipline, they punish them. Discipline, you teach them to sort of have a habit, right? punishment usually means they try to hurt you, destroy you, whatever. Even like if they just suspending you, it's denying you in some cases your ability to make money in the future, right? If they train you in your behavior as a form of discipline, it's like, say for example, your parents might have train you to get up in the morning, wash your face, brush your teeth, make your bed, take a shower, bath, get, get dressed, and then come down and get you something to eat, right? Before you leave, you know. Uh, uh, so, that's a conditioning, that's a training. Uh, you know, um, uh, uh, um, which a lot of times, like most parents could do that and realize they don't have to beat their kids. But some parents believe in torturing and causing pain. And in the South, you have more geared to torture causing pain. When I first came here, I had people say they whooped their kids because when they were slaves, the white man whooped them. All right, the white, which was ludicrous. But now, but they associate teaching their kid by doing this hateful, malicious stuff to them, and this is what they learn. So you'll have people that are like a policeman that was brought up that way, and then you get a contradiction as your adult because after a certain age, you can't go beat on your 20-year-old kid. There could be consequences. Somebody like you beat them to where you knock them out. Somebody could call the cops on you. You could do time. So you know what I'm saying. So you have this double binding hypocrite type of way that just makes them. That makes a lot of these people very psychotic and narcissistic. So you have this tendency and self-hate. If your mom is hitting you, that's not showing you love. So you learn a lot of self-hate. Maybe and that self-hate leads to shame. You might be ashamed of your melanin in your skin. You might be ashamed that you're dark skinned. You might be ashamed that you have nappy hair. You might be ashamed that you're female if you're pregnant. You know, these are, I'm saying, if you got suspended by school, shame. It's just bringing shame and humiliation and trauma onto them. So instead of directing their self hate and self love in a positive way where they're not doing malicious acts and causing more damage, that they've been conditioned and trained to cause more damage, to cause more harm, to cause more destruction. And the reason why I think the police need to be defunded, because those type of people do not need to be around children. This is not something we would want our children to learn. We want our kids to be more productive. We want them, and also if you got a lot of shame, there's a lot of jealousy. You see somebody else able to, walk through their shame and, learn and not wallop in it and just leave it behind them and move on to the next problem that's aroused. Because you got to understand, they got layers of problems. And, it's a shame that, like their only solution is like, let me lash off to them. Let me go home with my kid. So like in my mind, the police can't be around children. They cannot be around the elderly. They cannot be around people with mental or physical conditions, because this is the type. They've been conditioned because when they was a little child, when they were no more than 2 feet tall, some of them couldn't even walk or talk. They got hit. They got whooped. They got this type of punishment, discipline that causes trauma, you know what I'm saying? Because, like, the only thing they can remember is the bad shit. You wouldn't think all those birthday parties and fireworks didn't mean shit, didn't amount to a hill of beans, But, that time their mom beat their ass until they were black and blue and ripped the skin, they remember that pain. You know what I'm saying? It didn't stop them from doing whatever action that they was doing. It might have caused them to worsen because they're getting the wrong type of information as a, during their learning years between those very young development years between 0 and 5. You know, so yeah, we have to defund the police. We have to go back to more social programs so we can heal. We have to think about prison as a place to rehabilitate, especially if they're like burglar robbers or somebody that's doing, like 2 or 3 years to even 10 years, they're going to be out, especially when they're young, that when they're rehabilitated, that they're ready to hit the workforce running, not getting fined, not getting more punishment. You know what I'm saying? They're coming out of prison with nothing. No, they're basically homeless. They don't have a car. They only you know what I'm saying? They don't really have a supply of clothes or anything. So you know what I'm saying? The programs that they have, it in a way humilifies them, degrades them. It's just like I don't even think the police should be doing cavity searches. Other countries like China, Japan, they got X-ray machines like you got at the airport. They can just walk through. If there's any illegal stuff in any of their orifices or crevices or whatever, it would show up. Then you could go from them. But one thing I found very interesting, I was looking at a show about Scotland Yard and how they were doing their policing, which is different than American policing, and how they they don't go around killing people. At least that was mentioned. Here you got to mention when the police, but like there was this one guy. He was in some burglars went into the wrong house to try to get this grow manufacturing place, whatever, something weird. They went in the wrong house. Right, that same day they found just what they saw. Just using common sense, they saw a sign that said for sale. They knocked on it. They called the realtors and found out the house wasn't for sale. And there was a guy that was in there. He was Chinese, and basically he ended up coming there thinking he'd have a job, but they took his passport. They just have him sitting in this house all the time. They'll just bring him food or whatever. And instead of just deporting him, they talked to him for about 15 minutes. He didn't really want he was scared, they're going to kill my people and nothing like that. And they're like, nah, we got you, whatever. You can do this much time, whatever. And of course, it's not if you're going to get deported, you don't have to worry about doing time. China doesn't really give a fuck about United States laws, right? So anyway, so he went and told on the people, and he was just I don't know the name of the place. I just come here from China. I don't know the language, and the place was also booby trapped too. So anyway, I don't know the language or anything. So the evidence they brought back, one of the guys pulls out. He goes it was a full Chinese restaurant bag that they give you when they put the food in, one of those plastic disposable bags, whatever, or reusable bags. Well, anyway, had the name on the place. So that same day they went right into the place. I'm thinking in the United States, they got to put a wire on it. It'll cost 15 months. They wouldn't have got the people at the top layer. They'd have been just thinking about, deporting these other people and separating their families. And the people that are bringing them in don't give a care. They'll just bring more people in. What do they care what happens to the people? If they owe those people anything or are supposed to do anything extra for them, they don't have to now. They'll save money. Well, anyway, so basically what I want to say is that even though during this corona times, even though we have a president that has basically destroyed America because of the disrespect to the Constitution and our laws and our civil rights, that we still have to focus on police brutality, and that if we don't, it's just another way that we destroy our people. It's another way that we destroy the United States. You know, by destroying it at our base, which is the working class people. The police don't need to be in hospitals. They don't need to be in schools. They don't need to be public schools, universities. You know, they don't need to be social workers. They don't need to be distributing any type of drugs. You know, that's why you have the firemen, the ambulance, and you have emergency rooms. Emergency rooms should be able to do their job. And you know what I'm saying? I know a lot of times policemen moonlight, but I think that the policemen, their job should stay in their lane. They don't need heavy equipment. And if you can't comprehend what's going on, you know, what's affecting not only you, right? Because like they you know, if you can't comprehend what's really going on, that means that you're not being trained correctly. You know, and if you're mad and you think that the American citizens that are being taxed, you know, for you to have that job, that you're treating them fairly, you're ripping you're ripping your paycheck right out of your pocketbook by incarcerating people that could be working. Anyway, that's enough. So we do need to defund the policemen, invest in education, invest in our health care, and invest in not only their education, but in our children. You know, that means their health care, their education, their food, their lodging, you know, and the only do that is to have a healthy working economy. To bring factories or some type of repetitive money, be it like with, you know, going green and you know, having solar panels and windmills, you know, built here, having cars that or driverless cars built here, you know, keeping the technology here, you know, stop so many foreigners getting our education, and defund the police, but also forgive us of our student loans. Get America back to being healthy. Anyway, defund the police. It is our path to health, and take that money out of the police department and put it into our children, put it into rehabilitate, you know, like our children with the education, the health, you know, maybe health care for all, you know, in those type of programs, and mental health, you know, let's nip it in the bud, you know, at the root. You know, if you have a healthy roof and a root system, a healthy base, you have a healthy plant. And right now our plant is dying at the roots. All righty.